Welcome to Midlife Mountain of Debt. We're going to talk about the average American credit card debt by age. We're going to go decade by decade. So thank you for being here. My name is Todd. I'm with MoneyFit. And let's just get right into it. Here are the sources. We took these from some surveys and studies done by TheStreet.com and ValuePenguin.com. A little bit of terminology to understand here. There is a difference between average and median. We're talking, I think most of this is, we're talking about the average debt. So it's actually higher than the median debt. Average takes all the debt that the whole group that was surveyed has and divides it by the number of people there. Now, if you have one person with $1 million of debt and everybody else has no debt, it's going to show a higher debt that does not explain the reality for most people. That would be median debt. Median debt is the amount of debt that most people have, not average. So this is an average debt by decade. Just to understand that, it's going to be a little different. For people who have high amounts of debt, it does raise the average above what the median is. It also means, as we're looking at this, because the average is much higher than median, it means that when people go into a lot of debt, they get a lot of debt. So just take that into consideration as we go through this. Okay, let's start with the debt of the 20-year-old crowd. 20-year-olds on average have about $2,700 of credit card debt. That ranks 7th out of the 8 decades, 20s through 90s. Now that sounds great. 7th out of 8 sounds good, but any credit card debt, keep in mind, is too much credit card debt. And the reason why this can be concerning for a 20-year-old crowd is because, of course, their income is on average much lower. They're either right into brand new jobs, entry-level jobs, or they're still in school or just coming out of school. Student loans are a big issue with the 20-something crowd, as are car loans and housing, not to mention, just beyond the credit card debt. So any amount of debt is going to bump up against and be in a crowded room with these other types of debts. 30-something crowd. Okay, we jump from the 7th to the 4th. 30-something, $5,500 of credit card debt is the average. 4th out of 8, so right in the middle. And again, housing is an issue. They're looking to often move out of renting into a place of their own to own, or trying to struggle to find a place to raise what is now often a growing family. But they also have student loans often and car loans. So it's not just credit cards that are causing problems here. The 40-something crowd. Let's take a look at them. Now we're talking about second. Okay, and so at the beginning, when we call this a midlife mountain of debt, you can see as it starts to climb here, it's pretty clear what's going to happen. The amount for the 40-something crowd, $7,900, almost $8,000 of credit card debt. That ranks 2nd out of 8. But besides credit cards, you've got housing, mortgages. You've got student loans still playing in the picture. You've got probably multiple car loans. And if you have more than, you have a child probably coming of age, possibly driving at this point, there might be 3 cars in the home. And so the amount of credit card debt is not just concerning by itself, but because of the other demands on the financial situation of the 40-something crowd, which only gets worse if we move into the 50-something crowd. Number 1. Right in midlife there, $8,300, almost $8,400 of credit card debt on average. Now the median is probably going to be in the $4,000 to $5,000 range, which means that there's a lot of 50-something people in their 50s who are going to have $10,000, $15,000, or even $25,000 or more of credit card debt. Okay, same thing, same concerns with the 40-something crowd. But now you're talking about if you've got children, you're looking at them heading off to college, and a lot of parents considering how to finance their children's college. Plus, they really start to begin to think about retirement if they haven't been building that retirement fund. Is it too late? It's too late to take advantage of the power of compound interest and time, but it's not too late to still try and work out some retirement options. Health starts to creep in for some households in their 50s, some health issues that then can become credit card debt or medical debt. So the 50-something crowd ranks top because they're hitting early things from early life. Some of them still have student loans, in fact, but also starting to deal with things from later in life. Now we move into the 60-something crowd, third on the list out of 8, with a ton of credit card debt, over $6,800 on average of credit card debt. Still have the concerns about housing, still have multiple cars probably in the household, adult children coming back, maybe needing help, place to live, help getting into their own home, paying for college, but also dealing very directly with retirement issues. Most are retiring at this point, 65, 66, 67 years old over the next 10, 15 years. When it hits that maximum 67 years old, health becomes an issue for many households in the 60s, and so there's a lot of medical debt starting to hit here. So a lot of concerns for 60. That's why they are right near the top of the mountain of debt here as well. 70s. Let's see how far it drops here. It goes from second or third all the way down to fifth. But still, in your 70s, when typically you've retired, you have minimal income, Social Security, retirement, $5,200 of credit card debt is the average. So that's still, it doesn't rank last, but at fifth is better, but it's still $5,200. That's a mile-high debt right there. That's a lot of debt. So they're dealing with minimal income. That's one of the concerns. They're in retirement, so many are having to go back and work part-time. There's a lot of health issues. Housing for seniors, affordable housing can become an issue, especially as we approach the late 70s. Some households are now starting to deal with senior assisted living places if there are some serious health issues going on. The 80 crowd. Let's talk about the 80 crowd. All right, 6th out of 8. So not last, not second to last, but getting there. Still almost $3,000 of credit card debt on average. Health is an issue. Income is an issue. Housing, you get a lot of, quite a few seniors in their 80s starting to move into assisted living, which is extremely expensive. And now no longer able to work even part-time to bring in extra income to deal with that. So it's even though it's only $3,000 of credit card debt, that's still a lot when income can be pretty minimal. The surveys did include the 90-something crowd. So here you go in your 90s, ranked last 8 out of 8. That's great. Congratulations. It's the best place to be in last place if you got to be in last place. Only $1,400 of credit card debt still. That's still credit card debt. Health, of course, is a major concern. Minimal income beyond what has already been taken care of through Social Security and through retirement investments over decades. Housing becomes one of the top priorities and very expensive for anybody not able to stay in their own home because of health issues or other concerns. Okay, so here's the recap. You can see it. There's the mountain of debt, and it actually looks quite similar to that. You've got your 20s starting to climb up the mountain, hit the 40s. It's near the peak, but the peak is right at 50, and then starts to drop down all the way down to the 90s. So go ahead and pause that if you want to look at that a little more, but there's your mountain of midlife debt, or midlife mountain of debt. Really peaks in the 40s and 50s and early 60s. thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions or would like more information, more resources about financial education, please check us out at moneyfit.org/live. You'll find more a weekly course there. There's also an archive link to this and previous webinars. Love for you to check them out. We have moneyfit.org/academy, where you'll find a lot of great resources on a variety of topics from budgeting, credit, debt, savings, building, protecting your income, identity, and so forth. For MoneyFit, this is Todd Christensen, author of Everyday Money for Everyday People and 50 Plus on Fire, thanking you for joining me today.